Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at Solana 170.5. This is not a good look for Solana, but then again, majority of the market's kind of selling off. But this is to be expected, right? I mean, Bitcoin 73,600. Who's gonna, the first attempt to break the all-time high almost always fails. So we're probably just building that foundation of volume, that base in that low 70K range for Bitcoin, which does imply that Solana could recover from here because we do have this key level support at about 170 as a close approximate. It's basically just a previous candlestick closure here for the 4-hour time frame. Had a lot of difficulty crossing that level, and it's close to the 0.618, that golden pocket area too. So we should see a lot of support between 167 and 170. We're already kind of seeing it, but then again, Bitcoin had a pretty aggressive red candle there, and we're going to see if Solana can recover from that. So let's take a quick peek at the back-end data first, see what's going on, and just kind of go from there. I do want to say thanks to everyone who's been liking all the videos, commenting below. Really appreciate you. Love it if you could continue that. A quick congrats to our community members here for a nice little short there from Bitcoin yesterday, 21%. We have a Solana and a Near Protocol short as well, both in heavy profit. I'm probably going to adjust our take profit targets just to be on the safe side. So as soon as I finish this video, you probably see an update essentially. But the whole point of me doing that is to just ensure we secure profits, not get too greedy. I do feel Solana is going to continue lower. It just makes sense, but that's off the premise that Bitcoin is showing a lot of divergence and more evidence it wants to continue lower. So we see one more leg down to just say 70K to sweep that liquidation at 69.8, which by the way is pretty present here. This is Bitcoin's liquidation chart. There's a strong chance we're going to see the same thing from Solana, at least a wick down to the 165 to 170 range. We've already seen 169.5, so there's that. Okay, so back in data here. Quickly looking here, this last 7 days, kind of letting us know that again, decent amount of support in this area. Keep in mind, liquidation occurs at levels of support. It's not the other way around. So in this case here, we can see 167 to 169 as that potential support level, or a place in which people feel safe or comfortable to take a ridiculously high leveraged long. Okay, again, it's the reason why the market makers move the price action the way it is because of idiots. No offense to anyone who uses 50x leverage or higher. I hope you're not doing that all the time. That is the reason why these targets are hit. Okay, it's because of greed. Too much greed on one side, it gets regulated by the other. Okay, market makers know that. They're going to sweep those levels, destroy a lot of accounts, and then just move the price action however they see fit. So it's unfortunate, but it's really consistent. The whole point of me saying that is that 167 seems like a logical place in which we'll see the next candle wick down. Again, this is just last 7 days. We look at the last 30 days, we can see that same thing there too. Each one of these bars is 600 to 700 million. So we got a pretty good chunk there, 1.5 billion as low as 167. A little bit more of a gap there, but we do see roughly the same amount, 1.5 billion between 165 and 166. So my money's on 165 getting retested. I'll explain that here in a minute as to why I feel that way. We do take a look here though. This is actually refreshing to see this. We do see more shorts than longs in Solana right now. I know it seems kind of weird to celebrate that. I mean, part of it's, yeah, we got a short open, there's that. But mainly the fact of the matter is that we're actually starting to finally see this naturalization. Like Bitcoin is way too heavy with this long liquidation delta. It's like in the 6 to 10 billion range, all right? It was 10 billion recently, now it's lower because liquidation longs are getting liquidated, what do you know? But when we see this here, this is kind of more natural. This implies that there's more sustainability and a higher potential for Solana to recover because of that. I know it seems weird and counterintuitive, but that's just how opposite the market is. Anyways, we take a look, 175 is that point of control. Really not a point of control, it's more so open interest, but a lot of times you will see the local point of control concurrent with open interest. Basically, this is the largest amount of position size you can see in the market right now. So it really implies that a lot of people bought the dip thinking 175 is a support, which it kind of was, but with Bitcoin being on the way down, it doesn't make a ton of sense to take a long with this altcoin. Okay, we talked yesterday about the reasons why it's not really all that great of a coin to trade to the upside, and we can see that the previous fair value gap and liquidation levels have been swept. Correction, the previous liquidation levels have been swept. We have a new fair value gap here. This is on the 4-hour time frame, implying that if we do see a recovery from this coin, it would come up to this 174 and then potentially back down. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. This is strictly hypothetical, but fair value gaps get filled frequently. Somebody in the comments asked about fair value gaps and what they mean and how to explain it. And it's difficult to explain exactly, but the key takeaway is that the price action moved way too fast in one direction, and that natural correction to the opposite side has to happen. Okay, so it's just there's a lot of profit to be taken, and typically market makers will see that there's that gap, and what that gap is basically just a hole in profit. So say a market maker, shorted 175, and now they're in profit. They're going to secure profits, and as they do, that fair value gap gets filled because the price goes the opposite direction. Again, it's generally, the fair value gaps are usually going to be filled by market makers, people that have billions of dollars, not people like you and I. But what we can do by understanding what those levels are is kind of put our targets appropriately in that regard. Like Bitcoin, for example, yesterday, if you saw my analysis, you'll know there was a fair value gap here as low as about 70,400. Like 95% of that got filled. Not because it's present, but obviously we had a lot of bearish divergences. However, it's almost magically recovered as soon as it hit that level. Okay, it's very common. So that's a good sign for Solana. It could imply that we rally back up to that 175, that open interest level, and potentially reject off that local point of control. So daily time frame, what are we looking at here? Well, SMA's right there, smack dab, closer to the middle. This is not a bearish sign at all. In fact, the MFI is higher than the price action or the RSI, usually construed as a good sign. But I'm not trying to give you any consolations here because Solana is not performing well compared to Bitcoin. Yesterday, it was 2.5 to 3x to the downside of Bitcoin. Today, it's almost aligned itself perfectly. So that is good. That's showing more strength at this lower level, but it doesn't really give me a lot of confidence to want to take a long here. Same thing here with the MACD. It's soon to diverge, which really just implies that there's been a lot of continuation without correction. We're seeing the same thing a lot with other coins too, but Solana being one of those heavier, volume coins, I think we're probably going to see the 160s, low 160s, which we can see here, pretty obvious area of support there if we come down any lower. Okay. So anyways, 160 is a good place to consider long. I think 170 is not. Just from the bullet points here, or takeaways, or macro, big picture, whatever you want to look at. We're starting to see a disalignment with Solana. It's not good. We've lost 50 on the RSI. We talked about this yesterday being the last line of support. Not a good sign, not a good look there either. Pretty much everything is fully bearish, minus a couple of moving averages. But the truth is, folks, when you're under the 20, you start, one eyebrow should come higher, right? You start thinking, okay, this probably isn't going up forever. As soon as we lost a 50, that runs concurrent with the ascending trend line. That's why I draw those out in the same color. We lost that level, albeit we lost it very fast, so probably couldn't have caught that falling knife. But the truth is, once we lose this here, we can presume that's going to be a resistance. So 174 and the fair value gap there implies that shorting from 174 makes a lot more sense than taking a long from 170 to that level. Again, when you consider longs or shorts, you overall understand the overall trend. Right now we're trending down, so it carries more risk inherently to take a long into that. Vice versa as well when the price action is performing the opposite. So at this point, I don't like the price action. I think we're going to lose this level. I think 167, 165, possibly even 160, depending on how hard the price runs for Bitcoin, is an inevitability at this point. So just bear that in mind. It's not fantastic right now. We're getting closer to a pivot point here, though. Keep in mind we got this overextended state. A lot of times you can find success by buying the dip when we hit 30 on the RSI and 20 on the MFI. I've had a lot of success doing that, but you have to watch it close because usually that leads to a dead cat bounce, right? So if the price bounces, that may be a good consideration, but do not hold that to the moon, as they say. If anybody else is recommending you take a long here at this level, I would be careful trusting their judgment. We've had a lot of traders come over to my community because they get destroyed by others, and it's unfortunate. And again, I'm not perfect, folks. I might only trade about 75, 85%, depending on the time of year. With that success rate in mind, I'm successful because I don't use high leverage and I don't get destroyed by the market makers, right? I haven't had a liquidation event in quite a long time. And the reason why is because we use realistic stop losses, but also our stop loss is tremendously closer to the price action entry than it would be the liquidation event. It'll never happen. We 5x leverage long and shorts for altcoins and 10x Bitcoin. That's it. Okay. To give you perspective here, this is the trade from yesterday. Bitcoin short from 73,000 basically, round up a little bit, to 71,450. Okay. Now you got a little 20% profit there. It was a high leverage or high risk short rather, but it is 10x only for Bitcoin and 5x for other coins too. So like Near Protocol, we got a 5x short there, for example. That is soon to hit its take profit target because that is fallen flat on its face. Anyways, I'm going to update some playouts charts here soon. I'll post this playout chart on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I do want to say thanks again so much to the awesome Solana community. You've all been very, 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 very great over the last few years. It's been a really good community to work with. So appreciate you, and we'll look forward to seeing the next one. Oh, very last thing too, of course, check the comments below. This is a new campaign essentially that Bitunix is running. It's got some nice rewards. I think it's like a loose trading competition. It's available for you. Link down below. It starts tomorrow. But if you use my link to register, automatically eligible. Heads up on that. All right, folks. Have a great rest of the day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.